Man, that's a long bike ride. You're biking all the way to the downtown. Good for you, Steven. Hey guys, WheatyWaffle here today, and we are back in the city of Westfield, and right now we are riding on one of our new trains. Right now, this train has, I believe, let's pause it, 20 people on it. Let's see how many we get once we get to this station here. So we had 20. I believe a few people got off. Yeah, one or two. We're still at 20 here. How many people here? 12. So the ridership is going up a bit now that these trains are just kind of starting to become more regular and the people know that those trains are connected. What we are going to do today is go through and just begin to detail the 3 lines or the 3 new stations that we built in the last part. Before we jump into doing the detailing though, there were 2 comments that I do want to address here right at the jump. So the first comment was from Eli, and he mentions that the green and the yellow line actually cross over one another, which right here, which is not ideal. And you notice that the yellow line actually ends up coming and takes over this line here, whereas the green line does move back one of these lines here, one of these stations. So what I want to do is just kind of rework this a bit. So we're going to quickly pause this, but the red line comes right down through the middle and actually terminates here at the central station, and then the green line wiggles over into this second track. So I want to move the green line to the second track, move the red line to the third track since it terminates, and then instead of this yellow line coming up going into this third line, but then crossing over 2 lines to go into the first, we're going to move it so that the yellow line by default lands here in this first station. This is the last station that the green line hits before it reaches the central station. So what I want to do is take this green line, take this red line, we're going to scooch them both over, and then this yellow tunnel is going to be moved. Now, we are going to need to maybe finesse this a little bit, do a little bit of detailing on this side, but that's okay. But now, what that has done is it's moved the green line to this new station. So we're just going to do some quick rearranging here. Okay, so that should all work and be connected up. If I scroll out, yep, so the transfer now happens under the tracks, and it means that no longer above on grade level are these crossings. So we can also get in here and just remove some of these other connections that are unnecessary, and then we still have everything connected up. It should all work just fine, but now we have no unnecessary transfers. It's gonna kind of mess up our unnecessary crossings. It's gonna mess up all these people. They're gonna have to migrate to where they need to go, but now we're all set. 3 people are on this train. Yeah, it might be a little bit low on ridership. 240, that's not bad. While we get this all figured out. 175 or 157. This is an intracity train. Does it stop here? Oh wow, 220 people. Fantastic. So now we've got that all set up. So there's comment number 1. Comment number 2 was that we should change the color of this line. Where is our thing here? We should change the color of our airport loops. Ethan mentioned that we can make them purple, which I'm totally fine with. I have really no care in terms of what color they are, so let's make them purple. Why not? Make that one purple. We'll make this one purple. Nope, that needs to be a little bit more like, a little bit more rich. There we go. So now we've got a purple line kind of going around, as well as a green and a pink. Okay, that's fantastic. So we've got those 2 things addressed. Now we're going to kind of jump into doing the design of each of these stations. So we're going to start back here. There's not much back here as it is, but if we turn on, I believe C is our contours line. So if we turn this on, this area relatively flat, and I do imagine that we will put some more zoning in this area as well as here. We're not going to do that just in this part, but I am going to extend this bike lane. Let's kind of curve it and let's try to follow along the side of the train track if we can. And then I think we're going to bring this down, I think, to this area here. So let's bring this over, curve it right on in and connect it up. which just kind of gives us another area that we can zone and fill out. And I wasn't gonna put the roads down for here, but you know, why not? Why wouldn't we? I do want to change this though. Let's turn off collision, because I want this to all be tree lined if we can swing it. Oh wait, this was supposed to be the bike lane. Okay, this can stay bike lane. Down to here. No, bike lane will go here. There we go. These can all become tree lined. This here can become tree lined, as well as this area over here. So the bike lane can come down and connect, and it can reach back up to this larger section of road. We'll make those tree lined as well, and that guy. Okay, great. And then let's go ahead and just do some light zoning in this area. I don't think there's a whole ton we need. Now this is all within the same district. Let's give it a little bit of zoning. We do still, for some reason, have like insane demand for residential, even though all we've built for like 3 episodes is residential and like 2 live streams. But this is what they want. This is what they'll get. I think right here would be really nice for a little park too. This is not what I had in mind when I said I wanted to do detailing this episode, but yeah, look, it fits perfectly. Okay, there we go. So this area's got a little bit of zoning. On this other side, there's not tons of additional space to zone in, and I wouldn't want to do too much, but I think I want to connect up these areas with some paths. Let's just grab, I wouldn't actually mind doing just like a bike path, although we have a good connection here, so let's just do a regular road. And let's turn off these road guidelines so we can just kind of stick it where we like. We'll bring this straight on down to here, connect it up. It's just a quicker connection to get into the train line, as well as I think bringing one maybe along this back area. All right, so we've got a little bit of a path network there. Maybe we'll even just kind of keep it going around the back of these future buildings. Okay, so then let's go ahead, just while we're sitting here, why not just give it some zoning? So we're just going to, I think, zone definitely the avenue side. I would want this to have some businesses on it, so we'll fill in all of these, maybe not this little one here or that little tiny square, and we'll fill in this side as well. And then the back area, I think I do want to leave it kind of open. And just kind of more natural. I don't think I'm going to change anything to this section other than seeing if we can maybe fix the grading a little bit. So let's try to smooth this out if at all possible. Yeah, we might be able to get just a little bit on here, and that's perfect. Maybe if we increase this brush size, and just make all this look a little bit nicer. Okay, great. So we've got that all zoned out. That's perfect. I do want to do a few small changes up here in this area, actually around the train station. So you notice we have these bigger trees on both sides of the train station. So let's go ahead and clear out some of the default rocks and things that were on the map. And let's see if we can force this area to cooperate. If I grab this section here and try to make this a little bit more flat, we can go to about there, but then it doesn't want to work anymore. So let's use some rocks just to kind of hide that. We could use one like really big rock. What does that look like? A little crazy, so we're not going to do that. Let's use some smaller rocks, and we'll just make some kind of like small rock wall in this section. There we go, just a little bit of something to hide some of that crazy grading. And then over in this area, I actually do think I want to put just a small key along this wall. As always, I'm a huge fan of this brick key, so we're going to use this guy. We're just going to wrap it around the edge. Let's see, can we get a better curve here? And then we're going to bring it down a little bit, but then we'll probably just sink it as close to the ground as we can go. There we go. Just a little retaining wall because we cut into the mountain here. And then let me just try to quickly fix this grading if we can. Only if it's easy. If it's going to be like this whole to-do, we're just going to skip it. We'll leave that guy there. What are these crazy holes? Can we like get rid of those through... There we go. Just a little bit of move it. Alright, it did not make... It kind of gave us a little dip, but that's alright. But now we just have this much nicer looking spot. I do think this needs to come down a bit just to give a little bit of a less steep incline. Okay, so then for the front area, we have those beautiful big trees. I think here they are. We have these guys here. So I do want to put a few more of these in and around, just because that's the tree that we're using at the train station. So we'll put a few just kind of around the area, maybe even sprinkle some into the mountainside so it feels like they belong in this space. They kind of blend in with the environment. And then we're going to just really kind of naturally decorate this back area. So trees, some rocks, but no kind of park assets or anything like that. There's a decent amount of people using this bike route, which is so awesome to see. I love that. All right, so we'll put a few more over this way. A few more over here. You guys don't have any water. There you go. And so now this area is a little bit more detailed. It's nothing too extravagant, but it's just enough. Are you guys all going to the train station by chance? Like, where are you headed? You're coming down. Oh, you're going to take the bike route all the way. Whoa. All the way into the city. You're going to go up here. Loop around those buildings. You're coming all the way down this way. What in the... Wow. Man, that's a long bike ride. You're biking all the way to the downtown. Good for you, Steven. Use our beautiful bike lanes to get into the downtown. That's awesome. Okay, so this looks pretty nice. Just something small, not too crazy. We got a little bit more zoning in that area. And then throughout this section, I do want to make sure that we are clearing out the trees and things that don't make sense. So let's go ahead and get rid of these. Now I think the key in this area is going to be probably the hardest part for me. So we're going to take this in chunks. So we got rid of the trees. Now let's try to fix this land. I would like for everything to be perfectly flat in this section. So if I'm here and I want it to be that height, how do I make that happen? I don't know if I'm going to be able to. It might not let me. If that's the case, yeah, I think the road might be too close. Because once we get over here, even still, it's not really letting me sink this road down a bit. Okay, so here's our alternative. We're going to ignore it. But instead, we're still going to paint this inside area. And just because of like the very 2D look of this terrain paint, it does kind of hide the craziness a little bit. We'll bring it up to there. And then I think what we might even do is use the train to force everything to lower where we want it. So if we're dragging this train line across, bring it here into the middle, and it's going to kind of force that ground to disappear a little bit. So we'll just kind of scooch it over as center as possible within reason. And then let's go ahead and fill this area. I think right there, definitely gonna need some rocks. We'll make sure that this section is nice and filled in as well. Let's also make sure that we are, as we're going, connecting this key up to things, because you can put, yeah, I want this spot. What does this do? Where is that taking me? Probably nowhere that I want to go. Let's do it like this. We're going to take this and just bring it straight on down. Make these connect up onto this path, and then if we scooch down this way, we could do the same here. So we're going to take this and curve it in. And we'll take this and curve it in. And then I would like to make sure that this is connected here too. So let's just go ahead, and it's going to be a little ridiculous, but I'm going to take this and maybe slink it underneath. It's not ideal, but I would imagine this here is connected. We just don't, it's a little bit tight in this area to try to make that happen. But if we go like this, I mean, I guess it does work. So there we go. So now we're connected there as well. And then one last connection. I would love to also have this connect up. So maybe this can come through that backside of the building and just connect right into the road. And also, we've got our first person using this. Look at that. What's your name? You're Aspen. Where are you headed? Along the quay for a beautiful stroll to come down to this bus stop. Aspen, thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate it. All right, on this side, we're just gonna do some quick light detailing on these. Nothing too extravagant. I do want to use more of these flowers. And I think I might even just fill the whole area, like this whole section is a flower bed. Okay, and then let's also put some bushes in here too, just to fill it out a bit. Those are a little big. Those are also a little big. Where is regular bush? Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Let's put 2 regular bushes, and then maybe this side can have 3. Doesn't need to be perfectly symmetrical, but now we have these little beds that let people walk right on down. We keep moving along this way. There's another person using the key. Guys, these are such good keys. Wow. Okay, on this side, let's do something similar. We'll put 1 bush in each side. And then let's do the radial flowers from here. And then I think even in these areas, oh, it's not going to work because of the paths. It's going to mess the paths up. Okay, we won't do that. Instead, let's go ahead and grab, I think it's called block. Is it called block? It is called block, right? So let's go ahead and grab one of these. How big is this? Okay, this is about yay big. So we could, this is not it. What am I doing? We want this. This is this big. Okay, we could do a circle, right? And if we change this to 2, maybe even to 1, it's gonna place a ton of them, which isn't gonna be great for frame rate, but we won't be too close to this area. But it just allows us to get like a better circle. There we go. Another little entranceway leading on down to this beautiful viaduct. This area will leave blank, but I do want to decorate this area. I think I want to add in 1 additional path connection. That then gives us this little area to work with too. So I think we make this into just a small little fenced off area. Great. All right, so now we've kind of decorated those areas. This section here does need some rocks. We're just going to ignore this path. I don't know if they can really take this path that goes through the building or not. Maybe they can. I haven't seen anyone do it yet. I think they have to go around this way. So we're going to leave that path. We're just going to disguise it. So let's put in I wouldn't mind a large rock in this side. These are like huge rocks. What we could do is delete that building though, and put just like a big rock. I didn't actually mean to delete that. I wanted to move it back. So let's move this big rock back. Maybe we rotate it so it's facing behind the buildings. And bring it along to here. And then let's actually clear off this little bit of zoning that was in that spot before. This whole area just kind of needs to be reworked. And actually, now that I'm seeing this, let's get rid of the rock. Let's get rid of all the trees. And let's just kind of start this area from scratch. Again, we have the same larger trees. We also have tons of people waiting here, so there's going to need to be some work in this area, probably in the future. I think we're going to get rid of these buildings and only allow people to zone on this front end facing towards the university. We'll come in here with some paths and just kind of beautify it up a bit. I would love to change these to the tree-lined paths. Oh wait, no, we want collision on. But then I'm just going to have to go in, I guess, and delete the extra trees that kind of popped up. Okay, and now with collision still on, we have that there. Let's bring this straight along. Okay, that looks nice. And I guess it kind of means we should just fill this section and maybe expand this curve a bit to come down and through. So the train comes underneath. I think we need to maybe raise this end and raise this end just a touch. And now the train comes around and through. We'll put a bit more of this dirt on that edge. And this looks nice. I am going to just kind of fill the backside of this train station to help hide some of the craziness that's happening. And then I think here we're going to do a similar rock wall to the one that we did at the other station. So let's go ahead and finish that really quickly. Now we have rock walls covering both sides. I do want to put in just a few little bushes. These regular bushes are actually great for this kind of stuff, but just to kind of like fill them in a bit and give them some greenery. You would imagine that like no one's tending to the rocks that much, so there would be some greenery kind of growing through the cracks. And then we'll do this side too. So we're just going to kind of go in here, plop down a bunch of bushes, call it a day. Great. Oh, that looks wonderful. And then let's do this side too. Throw down some bushes throughout, and that will kind of fill this in nicely. And then we've got this gorgeous, just like green area. I actually don't mind that it's just grass. I mean, we don't have tons of just exposed area or exposed greenway in our city, so this is great. Let's actually put in, just to kind of tie things together, 1 or 2 trees kind of here and there throughout. Nothing too extravagant, but just a little bit of foliage and tree cover. And then I am going to do just a few regular bushes as well, kind of close to where the trees are, almost like they're either baby trees or little saplings, or they're plants that need kind of the coverage of the shade. They can't be in full sun. Okay, great. So there we go. So I think that looks much nicer. A little bit more clean. We've got great traffic coming through here. We will eventually have to go through and I think readjust all of our bus lines, especially because our city has grown so much since those were put down that there's probably tons more traffic we need to be addressing. All right, moving on to the next. This area here, we're just going to avoid because it's a mess. Let's raise this up. And actually, if I brought this straight on out, if we took these, made these the same height, brought this straight on out to here, what if we just key it off? I just said we're going to avoid this, and here I am just trying to like not avoid it. If we brought this over and around, and then we brought this straight along and straight back, and let's take all of these points and raise them up to here. We'll go ahead and fill in this area, and we could even connect this back up to itself. So then we have this road right here along this front edge, and now all of this can be zoned. Yes, yes. Huge fan. Huge fan. All right, to disguise this monstrosity of a corner, we're going to grab Shift P and put tons of foliage around it. You're not even going to know it happened. You're not going to see it. It doesn't exist. Same here for the back. We're just going to kind of disguise it with some trees. Okay, great. Oh yeah, I like that a lot better. Now, can we make this happen? I know the road is very close, but would you please go away? Okay, we're not going to get rid of this little clip, so as with everything else, small rock wall. Here we go. The way that I do these is I will place a bunch of rocks in one direction. If you right click, it will do a slight rotation on some of the props. It doesn't work with trees and things, but it does work with some of the other props. So then I'll just kind of go through, do a little right click, rotate the object, and then place a bunch more down just until everything's filled. And then when we have kind of areas like this, I'll try to make sure that I'm placing them parallel to the road, just because it looks a little bit nicer when they come right up to the road level and we hide that kind of dirt edge that is on all of the roads by default. So now we have a little rock wall there, just kind of up to the key. And it's a little crazy because it actually looks like there's some water stains on this particular asset and the water does not come to this area. I mean, that would be crazy for the water to have reached that far, but who knows? Okay, so we've got this guy coming along and through. We are having some goods issues in the city, which is a huge problem, and that's probably because we have all of these new people who've moved in, but I haven't been building any industry yet. So I think in the next part, even though the demand for goods isn't that high, we are going to go ahead and start working on an ore industry in our city because we don't yet have one. Through here, we did throw a bunch of trees down for better or worse. Some of them landed inside of our station, so let's get rid of those. But I think for this area, I mean, I really like how this looks, but I think we're going to leave all of this as is with the trees that they have. I do want to make a few small path connections just to kind of help with transporting people around. This person's going to have to go either way. And it looks like it's a 4x4 lot, so we're going to just come right here in the middle and connect straight on through. And then we will also bring a road up to here, which is like crazy high for some reason. Let's move this and set this to this height. And then we're going to just kind of maneuver this through. So if we brought it around, maybe try to avoid the trees a little bit. And then we're going to bring one over this way as well. Up and through to here. Great. Now I do want to just kind of make sure all these trees aren't directly on the path. Great. Okay, so we have this extra little path here, and it looks like we could even maybe wiggle in one more connection. So let's go and just take this kind of straight along the back here, and that's not looking too bad. I actually do think we might expand this to cover this whole area, but before anything builds in there, let's just go ahead and grab the trees that are here, just scoot them over, and we'll use them in this back section. Okay, great. So that covers that area. It's a little bit more winding and a little bit more fun. Now, Zeph did comment that we should upgrade this particular viaduct into the actual like viaduct train line that we got in the recent train pack. So let's go ahead and check out what that looks like. I believe there are 3 new train lines that we can use. This one here is the viaduct. This is the high-speed rail viaduct, 2-lane concrete high-speed bridge. Let's go ahead and just upgrade 1 or 2 of these. Oop, it would help if it was raised. By upgrading though, we have kind of like messed up our height in a few places, so we'll have to fix that. but this is what the viaduct looks like. Okay, okay. And then we also could do, if we don't love, we could do, what is this one called? This is the European Rail Bridge 2. Not a fan. It's also a one-way, so I'm going to pause because that's not going to work. And this is also a one-way. Okay, so we are doing the viaduct because we don't have anything set up for one-way tracks. Let's go ahead and just make a few edits here. So this has a nice slope sweeping down. I wouldn't mind raising this particular bit, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe raise it by 10. And then we're going to match that height with this guy. Okay, so that's all connected. Let's move these trees out of the way so that they're not intersecting with our viaduct here. That looks good. We do have a little bit of overlap with this tree, so we'll move that out of the way, scrolling all the way through. We do have some interaction with the trees here in the park, so if this were to come just above those trees, we would need to address this crazy uphill. So let's try to do that as best we can. That could go there. It does give a bit of a crazy uphill here, but with a little bit of work, we can make it look pretty decent. I think that's actually not too bad. I wouldn't mind pulling this out a little bit more to just get kind of a deeper looking curve. There we go. It's just a little bit more swooping, and I think that helps too with leveling some things out. It does get a little funky in that spot, but I'm not too pressed about it. The rest looks pretty good. Oh, I love that. Okay, so this all looks nice. It goes under and comes out to the other side. Do we want to make any edits to this section? I would love to kind of get a connection from one side to the other. So what I think we do is actually, let's undo this path and this path as well. And instead, let's bring this path straight on over, keep it stuck to the ground. We'll even move this to here and then just kind of adjust our curves a bit so that they just kind of work a little nicer. And then let's bring this straight on and connect. Here, kind of right in the middle, we're going to bring it down. We need to do this with the OG path. All right, so now we're tunneling. We'll bring it straight on through to here. And then at this point, we're going to bring it right back up to the ground level and just connect through. So now we have this extra road or extra pedestrian path going underneath of our train station. So let's go ahead and move our trees around, kind of hide the sins of the terraforming. And then can we go ahead and just lower this? It's going to make it a pretty steep point, but you could pretend that this is maybe stairs or something into the tunnel that goes underground, and you can just bypass the train line entirely. So that is awesome. And I think that that looks really nice how that all turned out. That's great. Okay, the last area that I do want to just try to do some editing on is this area here where we have the train line and it goes down and still visible, but you notice, I mean, the whole side here is clipped. So what I'm thinking we're going to do, just because it's such a difficult area to work in and it's even interrupting the roads, I don't know if a key is going to work here. So what I want to do instead is just upgrade this area to be underground. So we're going to go ahead and just tunnel all of this here. We'll bring the tunnel back probably to right here and it will come out there, but this will also just kind of reclaim some of the land in this section and allow us to have a bit more room to add some detailing there. So now we've got that all underground. Let's just put in a few trees along this edge and allow for some protection for these businesses from just the noise of that highway. And we're just gonna like really fill this whole area nice and bushy, really covering both all of the businesses, but also this park and everything from the trash receptacles and this massive oil industry we have pretty close to the heart of the downtown. Okay, so now we've got a nice little tree line road. It sinks that train line down. It does also mean that we can actually change this avenue back to a ground level road, which doesn't really do anything in terms of zoning because we're not going to do any zoning on that back side, but it does just look a whole lot nicer. And then we're going to just ditch some of this terrain paint here just along that edge. We'll put in a nice little fence because originally when it was bridged it already had a fence by default, but for this one we're gonna need to add one ourselves. It looks like we do have this fence here, so let's go ahead and just bring this straight on down along the side of the road to here. It blocks everything off, and then what we're gonna do to just kind of fill this in is we're gonna put tons of bushes, which it looks like wherever I'm placing them they're hiding underneath of the road. We're gonna place tons of bushes just along here just to really make sure that no one can get through, and that visually it just looks a little bit nicer. There we go. All right, so now the train line comes around and through and then heads back into the downtown area. All right, I think that's everything that we wanted to do for this area. The only other thing I did want to do is just kind of quickly address this section here. We did kind of mess it up when we moved the train tracks around. So I'm going to bring this dirt a lot closer to the rail or to the fence. And then as we've done with everything else, throw in some bushes. I'm going to try to target these though to be kind of in these areas where for one reason or the other the terrain paint just doesn't really cover it in the way we want it to. Maybe we'll put in some of these ones. They're a bit more green, got a little bit more yellow in them. Just kind of give it a different look. And we'll just kind of fill this edge here with some additional bushes. Okay, great. I think that looks nice. Let's go ahead and do the same here. And is there any zoning in this spot? I wonder why not. Let's give that some zoning. We'll ditch that one because it obviously can't be used. But we'll go ahead and put another building there. And I actually think that this whole section would look really nice if we just filled it in pretty densely with some trees. So let's go ahead and just grab all the trees we usually use here in our Westfield build. There we go. Oh, that's much nicer because now if you're on this road, you've got trees on the one side, businesses on the other, but you don't really have to deal with the train that's directly behind you. All right, great. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to leave this part here. We've kind of gone through and done detailing and decorating around everything. I still have not dealt with these two open plots of land, and I'm not sure what to do with them. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you have any suggestions about the detailing that we did today. In any of these stations, are people using this tunnel? We do look like we have a few people. We at least had someone come out. Yeah, we have a few people coming in and out of there. And so this one has a little bit more pathing work, a little bit more natural look to it. This area here is a little bit greener, just more like lawn space, which I think looks really nice. Fits with our university. We just kind of went through, painted this correctly, and made sure all the different areas were connected to the actual key, which people are now using, and that's so cool to see. And then this section here, we did some rock work, as well as gave just another small little park area without actually designating it as a park. Tons of people are using this particular road here, which makes me think that I actually want to upgrade just before we end here. Upgrade this road and turn this into a bicycle road. It'll dead end here, doesn't actually go anywhere from this point, but it will get bicyclists over into this area of the city, the South Linden Park. All right, but I think that's what we're going to call it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this part, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments below about what you think we should do in the next part, and I will see you guys in the next one.